Picture with me for a moment the scariest car you have ever seen in your life. Now, I know that's not really an attribute normally associated with cars, them being scary, but I have created something that I think is worthy of that title, and I want you to see it. But first, let me cleanse your eyes. Here's a car from the Discord, something of beauty, I'm sure, but yeah, this is my latest creation. Yeah, it's looking right at you. You better start running. It is the Joker Mobile, and it is for the latest showcase. If you're interested in the info on that showcase, links are in the description of the Discord, where you can find it in the showcase channel. I'm not going to bother going through the rules because they're pretty simple. This car is being made for the Heroes and Villains class, specifically as a villain car. And it's kind of half done, but I'm going to have to explain why in a second. There's some interesting attributes that I want to go through. First things first, the reason that this thing is half done is because I thought I was recording yesterday. I spent about 2 hours putting this creation together, but it turns out I wasn't recording any video, so I had 2 hours of audio and no video to show for it, so I'm a bit of an idiot. But in the end, it turned out like this, and I wasn't quite done yet. So I figured I'd just kind of continue off of that today. Now, I want to show you what I've done so far. I mean, you've already seen the bulk of it. This is the grunt of the work here. This took quite a long time to make. Same thing with the rocket boosters on the back. I'm still working on those, but yeah, I've still got some work left to do, and I figured I'd go through the rest of it in this video. But if you want a rundown of what the car is, it's basically just the highest possible quality, nicest materials I can think of, push rods all the way around, and it has a very lovely purple and green V12 that makes 480 horsepower, I believe. Something like that, 480 horsepower. It's pretty small though, and very high revving. It doesn't make any sense, but this showcase hasn't got anything to do with engines, like there's no restrictions or there's no testing for engines, so it's all visual stuff. This doesn't actually matter. The paint is purple and green, as you would suspect, and the reason that it has a giant face on it, which I'm immediately going to change the color of this right now because it bothers me that it's not red enough. But the reason that it has a giant face on it is because I wanted to make this a particularly evil car, and one that is sort of roughly based on some of the stuff I've seen from the Joker over the years. That's why it's called the Jokerizer 2.0 Death Wheel with no power, and it's got a nice V12 under the hood, or I guess under the back, because it's actually back here instead of underneath this gigantic hood, which is completely empty. Doesn't make any sense, but yeah, it's fine. Now, as you can imagine, I was having a lot of fun making this, and it's really a shame that the video was not recording for that. I don't often make mistakes like that, but when I do, it's usually devastating. It really bothers me, but anyway. I'm trying to get over that, and my way of doing so is just to build on what's here. So forgive me for missing most of this build. We're not done yet, though. I still have a lot of work to do. These pieces in particular were incredibly labor intensive. Just faking all this stuff in is not easy. You will, however, notice that the fenders, unfortunately, are not tall enough for these wheels. They are massive wheels, and they're massive wheels on purpose because, again, I only care about looks. It doesn't matter at all how this drives, although we will test it in BeamNG a bit later on. So my goal at the moment is to fix the wheels so that they do not stick through the hood anymore, or any of the other body components, and then I gotta work on this back end. And then, I don't know, we've got to add some like laughing and stuff onto this. It needs some vinyls. I was thinking it would just be kind of a nice straight body, not too much going on, and then I created this, and now, well, there's no going back. So what these big fender pieces look like is this. However, you can shrink them dramatically if you really need to, and that is my plan. I don't want them to stick into these pieces that I spend a long time making and lining up, so I'm instead just making my own deal here. It's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't, well, it kind of does need to be, actually. Hold on. Let me go for some perfection here. Ooh, that's actually, ooh, that's tight. That's actually nice. Oh, okay, so we're getting somewhere. You know what? I'm thinking, as awkward as it might be, I might just pop these up just like this, maybe? They don't need to be that high. It looks a little bit awkward, doesn't it? Oh man. I almost don't want full fenders on the car, but I think we do need something, especially at the front. So yeah, a bit of a challenge for me, I guess. Yeah, the only problem I see with this is that the wheels are going to be tucked in pretty deep in the back there, but I don't really mind. I think that actually looks pretty good. Just with a bit of cutting, maybe, I might be able to get it to look even better. Just gotta cut these side pieces out here. Okay, so the green is now missing from that, which is nice. There's a little bit down here. I think I can cut that too, just like that. And yeah, does that mean we have a fully functional weird back wheel going on? I think so. It dips a little bit here, but I think we can work with that. Make something a little bit more interesting out of it, perhaps. Okay, a little bit more cutting, and I think I got it. It's just a little bit more even on the back there, and it's looking pretty nice. I want to leave it green, but I'm not sure. I could also make it purple or black or one of the other possible colors that are on this car. There are quite a few of them at this point. This on the car tab is extremely useful when you're trying to make jank like this. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is go mismatched fenders. We're going to go for purple at the back and green at the front. I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but I'll try my best here. Yeah, these things are basically impossible to place without the 3D placement. However, when you do get them right, my goodness, they look good. Oh, really weird. Now they're kind of just like ears? That's not what I wanted at all, but it's interesting. It definitely completes this look. I'm kind of fine with it. I mean, this car is very obviously about going way, way over the top and kind of pushing the realm of what's even possible in this game. That's kind of my idea, but I mean, it's mixed, mixed so far. Alright, some cutting is in order, as you would probably suspect. That just seems to be a trend with this build. The more cuts, the better. Yeah, sadly I can't cut the wheel arches very easily. That is not particularly easy to do. It's fine though, I'm just going to cut out these bottom kind of pieces here. We're just going to have to roll with the rest of this build. Hopefully this isn't too scary yet, because I'm sure it's going to get worse. Okay, just a quick attempt up here to see if I can get this cut. So far, not so good. And let me see if I can do it with a bunch of pieces. That might be the only way. Okay, this body is proving to be one of the easiest ones to cut that I've done so far, which is making it a lot easier for me, so thank you for that. Okay, so the fronts are entirely cut, the backs are interesting, and yeah, that's gotta be one of my cleanest installs yet. I'm not super happy with that, but I'm pretty darn happy with this. Goodness, this is the stuff that I didn't have the energy to do yesterday. Now, I think justifiably so. The Joker is not one to just kind of let this stuff slide. We're gonna need some more ridiculous wings and other things on here. It is a jet car after all, so it's gotta have something. It's kind of getting to the point where it's impossible to see out of this car, but I find that to be funny, so I'm totally leaving it. Don't worry about it, it's fine. It's just part of the deal. Oh yeah, I didn't even show you the interior. I'm not done with this yet either, but it's got one middle seat, one steering wheel here, which doesn't really make any sense, and then 2 seats on the side, just like a McLaren. I don't know, I thought it would be funny, but now I'm just like, well, that's a lot of work. My goal now is basically to add as much ridiculous stuff as I can, and so that's what I'm gonna do. However, I did miss some important stuff like wipers, although I don't really know if any car like this would actually have wipers. Probably not. I just like to think that it's funny that there could ever be a road-going version of this car. I don't know how it would pass any inspections. And yes, I am turning the wiper blades green. Don't question it. I didn't even know you could do this. So the car doesn't have mirrors, and that's because I spent a long time trying to put mirrors on it, and none of them actually worked. However, I am going to try these ones. Oh, you know what? No, you know what? Never mind. Mirrors don't work. They just don't seem to go. That's not terrible, though. Okay, fine. We'll have mirrors, and they're going to be these ones. I just think that they're the best kind of compromise between what I've seen so far, so that'll have to do. I want to put some like massive hood piece here, but I'm struggling to figure out what exactly it should be. There are a ton of hood scoops and things, and a lot of them are more old school style, but nothing that quite works, so we may end up having just a ridiculous hood bump, if that's alright. Oh, that's a bit too ridiculous maybe. What I said the last time I tried to do this was, I'm hoping that this car will look like a Hot Wheels car, like the Hot Wheels rendition of a Joker car. That's kind of what I'm after, and so far, so good. The big problem with putting one of these here is that you can't put symbols on top of it most of the time, so I'm going to quickly check that. Say we put this big police symbol. Yeah, or it's actually quite small, but it's not going to show on top of this thing unless I put it on there 3D. Okay, so I'm starting to think about the side skirts, if we actually need any. I'm not sure that we do, to be honest. I don't think that the sides really need much other than the decals I'm planning on doing. The back end still needs some love. These are supposed to be rocket boosters in a similar vein to one of the previous rocket cars I made. However, I am struggling with them a little bit. I just haven't been able to get them to line up as nice as I'd like. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on for the past while, just trying to make these things line up nicely. I like the spikes sticking out just because they kind of bring that style that I was looking for. It kind of looks like, again, that there's some Batman tech on the back of a Joker car, and that's sort of what I'm wanting. Like, it makes it look like this is all Joker stuff, and then he just stole some rockets from Batman, which are obviously colored black, and then slapped them in his car, and this is what it looks like. And yeah, you can see I went to some further extents by even adding big down tubes, and I'm going to try and cover up the compartment in the engine there. It's supposed to be hastily put together, even though I really spent a lot of time on it. So far, though, these corners here just looking a little bit too bland, so I gotta add something. An idea that I had that I haven't really tried yet is using some of these dashboard pieces, including things like switches and stuff, to make some weird controls on the top of these, or on the sides of them, or just somewhere around them, just to make it a little bit more interesting, because there's a lot of stuff in this dash thing, a lot of different options. While I'm here, I may as well put in a piece on the dashboard. This is not going to work out so well unless I can line it up. Yeah, putting pieces on here in 3D like this is not particularly fun, I find. Mostly just because, well, now I have to flip it. Oh, wrong way, this way. And that way as well. But I wanna, if I wanna line it up against this, like, piece here, it's gonna take me some time to do it. Okay, thankfully it's all in the same field, or on the same plane, I mean, which makes it a bit easier. And if I just kind of line it up here, put it up against there as much as I can, just kind of turn it so it's flat with this piece. It's really not flat, is it? But the middle is sticking out a little bit, but I'm just gonna say that that's fine. And so it should look pretty convincing on there. Maybe not that convincing. At this point in my automation career, I am convinced that any car that has wings is superior to ones that do not, and so I'm adding wings to this car. Take it or leave it. Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh, I can actually... Oh no, I like this a little bit too much. Ooh, that's good. That's really good. Okay, hold on a minute. As long as these aren't gonna drag on the ground, I'm pretty okay with them. So, oh yeah, no, this is gonna be great. I even got this brilliant idea to clone them a bunch of times. Okay, maybe not that many times. Bring this piece over though, and then we'll clone it again, and again, and one more time. Oh yeah, that's lots of pieces in there. Okay, this back end is looking fierce. Maybe that's a few too many of these. I'm gonna get rid of those ones. Yeah, you know what? That's it doesn't quite look as good as I thought it would. Retreat, retreat. Let me try and do it just a little bit more simply. Okay, this is definitely reinforcing the fighter jet look that I was going for, which is good. And I really just need something to fill up this extra green space, and I might be good. Okay, back end is relatively sorted. I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm finished with the rockets, but I think they're just gonna have to do for the purposes of this version of the build. Obviously, there could be a 3.0 if you're interested, let me know. But I want to take some time, because I mean, I don't have too much time today, to, well, first of all, announce that there are legit Bugo badges in the game now, so please go download those. They're awesome. Thank you for these, TAF. And I want to take some time to design a decal set for this car. I want to just cover it in Has, so let me try and do that. Similar to the Jared Leto Joker's tattoos, although admittedly they aren't good tattoos. I think they'd look better on a car than they did on him. So let's go. Okay, the hardest part of this is actually just picking out the font that I want to do it in. If we make a quick demo, let me see here. So I can make it an uppercase A, or, yeah, this one doesn't have lowercase. So it would just be like that. I don't know, let me make another demo. Okay, I think if I'm gonna do this, they have to be in yellow. Or perhaps I could do them with these. This might be a little bit more classy. And the reason for yellow would be just because it stands out and it doesn't stick out too much. Yellow is good that way. So it would be kind of like this, I guess. That's a little bit more fancy, and I think I'm gonna go with that. This is going to take a really, really long time. Oh geez. Okay, let's go. Let me see if I can design something here. Okay, I'm actually going to cheat slightly because I'm going to mirror all of the ones that I put on this side. And the reason for that is because they look equally as good in reverse. So I'm going to do half the design over here and then half the design over here, saving myself time and also making it just a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I just took a look at the Joker's tattoos just to make sure that I'm not too far off, and they are a lot straighter than what I'm doing. They're not cursive like this. However, I think that I might be able to get away with just kind of using both just to see what that does. If it turns out bad, then yeah, well, I guess I didn't do it right. I'm gonna make it real obvious right now. I'm not an artist at all. I mean, I guess video making in itself is a bit of an art, but I'm terrible at art and designing things, and yeah, it's becoming more and more evident with these weird designs that I'm attempting to do here. Just look the other way for a minute or two while I try and figure the rest of this out, and hopefully, well, I'm mirroring it all on the other side because I think it's actually kind of cool, but it looks something like that, and we're missing an A. There has got to be an easier way to copy and paste things. That would be an excellent thing to add to the next build. The ability to just take all of these, just select more than one item for once, and then just be able to copy it over and over, because otherwise it's going to take like 14 years to do. However, I do have an idea. For better or worse, let me see if it actually works. Some of my ideas are terrible, but this one is terrible. I'm going to cover part of the window with this. I think it's really, really Joker-esque to take something that looks good and then just kind of destroy it. That being said, I haven't read that many comics. So, I mean, I've seen all the movies. And the final one of this set is just going to line up right in here, just like that. And would you look at that, we have a design. That, yeah, that took some time, my goodness, but I think it was worth it. That's pretty darn sweet. Now I've got to continue it up and around the front somehow. I really want to put some has over here just to tie this all together, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do. And I am going to take off this bump in the hood, not those, but this. Just so we can put some of these letters all the way on up there. I think it kind of looks cool. So if I wanted to continue the pattern down the side here, I definitely could, and I think what I'm going to do is do that, except not go all the way across the top, just because I think that this is, well, a design worth repeating, although, I don't know, this is obviously very subjective. Now these pieces are most likely to become just white squares or just not work at all in BeamNG, so that's not really what they're for. It's more just for automation here to make something cool. And then for the photo mode. Although, again, like I said, I'll put this thing in BeamNG just to see how it goes. Although, I don't think it's going to go that much. I mean, it's got 480 horsepower and it is reasonably light. So, I mean, I guess it should have some go. A little bit of get up and go here and there. This just looks kind of messy on the side of the car. I don't know how I feel about it, so I'm going to erase part of it. And we have created a lambda symbol. It's beautiful. Okay, now that's gonna stay. Half-life forever. I was gonna jokingly write damaged on it, but then I realized that would probably be too much. So I'm restraining myself from doing that, of all things. Okay, I should probably move on before I ruin the thing. That was a bit of an undertaking, but the car is done for now. The crowning jewel of this is definitely the big mouth face thing. It kind of looks like a snake. It was supposed to kind of look like a cat at first, and then it's kind of turned into whatever the heck this is. And then the ha symbols And then the rockets. Those are the biggest highlights for me, at least. But I'm interested to know which part of this car you like the best. So let's move on to the drivetrain. Now, I've partly filled out a lot of this because, again, it doesn't really matter. The car is not actually going to be driven in the showcase. I mean, my cars never actually enter the showcases anyway because I don't think it's really fair for the creator of it to enter it. But so basically, I'm just doing this for my own fun purposes here. Warnings so far, we have power distribution is off, oversteer, dampers are hard, okay, normal stuff. And then quality settings being all the way up is not particularly helpful for it. And it is going to be mostly rear wheel drive. I'm going to have the spacing nice and high, so this thing should shift pretty quick. And it's got the biggest wheels it can get because I feel like that's very thematic. And then I'm also going to make them the largest offset that I can, just to try and poke them out a little bit more, except if it ruins the back wheel thing that I did, in which case they're going back. But that, I mean, that's not too bad there at the front. That means, weirdly, it has more offset on the front than it does on the back, which means this is going to handle like an absolute boat, but that doesn't really matter. I'm fine with it either way here. Brakes, I literally just made them all 6-piston carbon fiber stuff, because I figured that was going to be nice, and back brakes are nicely sized, front brakes are nicely sized. I think we're good to go there. Aerodynamics, I was having issues with the car bottoming it out, so that's why I have it at 0. And then active wing is going to make it bottom out as well, so we'll just leave it where it is. I don't want it to get too nuts here. Interior, I gave it just 1 seat. I guess we can give it 2 seats at the back, maybe? That's really, really weird for this, but I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's fun that you can do that. 2 seats at the back, 1 at the front, and oh yeah, it's got maximum quality everything. I just gave it all this stuff because, I don't know, I just figured it would make sense. And then it is a full-on race preset, except now with the lowest possible ride height. And there we go, it's slammed once again. Okay, do I really care about handling? I guess so. Maybe I'll try and work on that. Okay, we're getting a bit of camber in the back, which is not what I anticipated, but it is putting up our sportiness, which is ideal. And the spring rate, okay, it looks like they actually need to be tighter, just a little bit. Yeah, you know what, that's a slight adjustment off the race preset, that's more than I usually do for my cars, and so I think it's probably done. We have a 1,300 kilo car, which is fairly light, 480 horsepower, it's going to be quick, with twin turbos, V12, and rockets out the back. Hard to complain about that. Well, I'm hoping for the best here. I'm thinking it'll do something, and I'm wondering what the heck this little piece is. Why are you intruding on my diffuser? Okay, I'm gonna cut that out, and then I'm gonna send this thing over to the BeamNG exporter. And then look at that, this lad costs a very crispy $21 million. Don't worry about it. It's that's a budget for the Joker. But yeah, I think that's good. Let's try it out in Beam. My goodness, I am impressed. I think this car turned out excellent. Here, just take a look at some of the screenshots that I took in automation. I want you to see what kind of beauty this thing was able to conjure up with some different lighting and stuff. It looks really darn good, and I'm very happy about it. Here is what the car looks like in BeamNG. It's a little bit washed out, a little bit awkward, but I really like how these stickers go semi-transparent on the windows. That makes me very happy. So yeah, I think it looks pretty darn good. I forgot to put a piece covering between the interior and the engine bay, but again, I actually do want to make a second version of this car, so yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just means I have more stuff to add, kind of just easy stuff to get me going, get me back into it. You will notice, I don't think I mentioned it, but there is a giant intercooler behind this, and I don't think it actually does anything because this car likes to overheat. That is its biggest issue, but I guess that does make sense considering it's got rockets. Yeah, this V12 is unmuffled, completely no exhaust at all, so let's take it for a drive. It's a little bit loud, and the turbos, I like those too. Now, I think I made a few mistakes with the build, including making it a 7-speed, but that, I mean, again, it doesn't matter because the showcase is purely visual. If you're making a car, I mean, just skip the engine and put your time into the actual body and the chassis and like the way it looks more than anything, because that's all we're looking at. Now you'll notice immediately that the back fins are scraping on the ground, which is unfortunate. They hang just a little bit too low, and while they don't look like they're scraping on the ground, according to this game, they are. So yeah, just something to consider for next time. And just look at how many pieces fly off this car when you bang it into something. It's just an array of parts all over the place now. So it has drive modes. It's currently in comfort. This is sport, and then this is off. So we'll leave it in sport because I think that probably makes the most sense. I want it to be quick. And yeah, no, it is definitely quick. We'll consider the fins flying off to be countermeasures at this point, I think, because, I don't know, this car needs countermeasures. What car does not need countermeasures if you're a villain car? How else am I supposed to get rid of the police when they're on my tail? I didn't put any guns on the thing, so you know it's just gonna shoot rockets right out the back of it. Oh yeah, and my favorite feature, you'll notice it there, is fire actually does come out of the giant rocket jet things. I don't know, they're jets, but they're also rockets, somewhere in between. But the reason that it does that is because I plumbed the exhaust into these things, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty darn good. I'm very happy with that as well. The car definitely likes to understeer, or is that oversteer? I forgot which one it is. It is all-wheel drive, so that kind of makes sense. I'm just doing a giant loop right now. Let me show you what I mean by the thing overheating once I get it back on. So if you just kind of move it, you stay high in the RPMs, the car will overheat. Unfortunately, that is its biggest worry. I should have turned up the cooling, but in my own experience that doesn't necessarily help. It seems like I might have needed to add a port or something to make it a little bit nicer, a little bit easier to cool off. And there's the smoke I was waiting for, so the rockets actually do work. The engine being in the back, it means it's easy for us to have this kind of stuff show, which is really cool. Okay, just made it there. I thought I was going into a wall. But yeah, the rocket car is, I guess, functional. In this state it is. Well, actually almost 200 kilometers an hour, and no problem at all. You know, I've been having a lot of fun with these builds recently. I was honestly pretty disappointed with the way that the vans did in terms of viewership, so I was hoping that this one would be a little bit better. Let me know again what you think of it. I'm very, very interested to see what you guys feel about these more wacky builds, stuff that's way out there, not really grounded in reality at all. This thing is just nuts. I've also been thinking about when to kind of pull the transition of going from IRL to, from game content to full IRL content. Obviously that isn't going to happen yet, but at some point it will. I'm kind of hoping to pull a Gingium on you guys, but we'll see how that goes. The thing is that I really like games, but I would rather spend my time working on cars, and time is limited these days, and all days for that matter. But nothing is possible without your support, so I would encourage you now, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel if you're interested in these videos and my upcoming series and continued series. And yeah, if you have anything to say it down below. Like the video if you liked it. And, well, I guess I'm not quite done yet. We still have to ramp this thing off with something huge. These scraping fins are definitely annoying, but they are kind of fun as well. You know what? I already did take it off of a big ramp, but let's just take it off of one of these ones right here, and we'll see what I can do with it. And there goes the entire rear assembly. Alright, speeding up. It's in a straight line, so it shouldn't be too bad. Well, maybe not a fully straight line. We're taking it on an angle. This is the end of the video. Come on, car, you gotta show us what you can do. Fly like an eagle with those rockets. And, I mean, well, you know what? We actually are gonna live through that. Could probably flip the thing over and keep going. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments, and I'll see you guys again for more IRL stuff next week, and another automation video perhaps. We'll see how things go. But until then, yeah, have fun. Have fun while this thing haunts your nightmares. Just don't touch its tongue. Trust me, I put it there. Oh jeez, it's broken. Yeah, well, I tried. Big thank you to the join button supporters. I appreciate you guys a lot. At some point, I think what I'm going to do is kind of divert the income from you guys over to the project car build. I talked about that before, but that's not going to happen just yet. What I wanted to say, though, is a specific thank you to the advanced supporters: Overlord, QT Bear, Terry Williams, The Most Random Person, Jean Volpalms, Paradoxical, G.A. Pope, Davis, The German Dude, and Jug. Thank you guys for your support. Appreciate your consistency, and I'm hoping that you guys are down for some of the stuff that's coming up. I need to figure out a way to integrate you guys into the car build. So I was thinking we'll do this a little bit later on, but anybody who's an advanced supporter during a certain month, which I'll announce eventually, I'm going to write your name on my car. I know that sounds kind of nuts, but I think it'd be kind of fun. So we'll write it on a panel of the car, and then I'll clear coat it, and we'll make sure that that panel is very, very good and shiny and on the car, as long as I need that panel there, unless I break it off at some point. No idea what that's going to be yet, but I'll work on that soon. Anyway, just an idea. See you guys again next time.